This video is about nouns. Now, this is a topic that almost everybody thinks is easy, simple, and already understood. But the reason I say people think it is simple is because most of us learn this topic at a very early stage. We hear one line again and again. A noun is the name of a person, place, animal, thing, or idea. And then we move on. But the problem is, many learners only memorize that line and never actually understand how powerful nouns are in real English. So, in today's video, I don't want to just give you a one line school style definition and finish the lesson. I want you to really understand nouns in a much deeper and more practical way. So, we are going to talk about what nouns are, why are they important, how they function in communication, major types of nouns, and then with examples. Okay? So, let's begin now. What are nouns? A noun is a word used to name or identify a person, place, thing, animal, substance, quality, feeling, state, or idea. Now I know that sounds like a broad definition, but that is exactly the point. Nouns are everywhere. They are not tiny little grammar topics sitting in one corner of English. They are one of the main pillars of the language. Whenever you speak, whenever you write, whenever you read, nouns are constantly present, right? If you want to talk about a person, you need nouns. If you want to mention a city, a country, a profession, a mission, emotion, a memory, a law, plan, situation, so and so. You need nouns. So something invisible like wisdom or freedom, there also you're using nouns. So nouns are not just names, they are the words that help us identify what we are talking about. For example, imagine if I simply say was difficult. Immediately your mind feels incomplete. Something is missing. What was difficult? Now, if I say the interview was difficult, that makes sense, right? The sentence is complete in a meaningful way. The reason? Because the noun interview tells us what the sentence is about. Now, another example. If I say changed everything, again it feels incomplete, right? What changed everything? Now, if I say the decision changed everything, the sentence has a direction, it has a center, right? So that is the noun. So whenever we talk about nouns, we are really talking about the words that give language its subject matter. They tells us who is involved, what exists, what is being discussed, what is being affected, and what matters inside the sentence. That is why nouns are so important. Okay. Many students ask, okay, nouns are names, but why should I care so much about them? The answer is simple because without nouns, communication becomes vague, confusing, and incomplete. Nouns are important because they do several major jobs in English. First, they give sentence a clear focus. A sentence usually needs to be about someone or something, right? So that someone or something is often a noun. For example, if I say the doctor explained the procedure clearly. Here, the doctor is the noun that tells us who performed the action, and the procedure is the noun that tells us what was explained. So, nouns help us understand both the source and the target of the meaning. And secondly, nouns helps us express real world and abstract ideas. Remember, English is not only used to talk about physical things like phone, tablet, so and so. It is also used to talk about invisible things like justice, honesty, courage, pressure, stress, peace, emotion things. So these are also nouns. Nouns allow us to communicate not only about the visible world, but also our thoughts, emotions, values, and concepts. And the third one is nouns are essential for building strong writing. If your noun usage is weak, then your writing becomes repetitive, unclear, and immature. But when you use nouns accurately and effectively, your writing becomes more specific and more professional. For instance, you can compare these two things. Things are becoming bad in many places. This is understandable, but vague, right? But if you read this one, economic instability is affecting many regions. This sounds sharper and more precise. Do you know the reason? Because the nouns instability and the regions are more specific than the word things, and places. So when you improve your knowledge of nouns, you also improve your sentence quality, your reading comprehension, your writing accuracy, and your speaking clarity. And that's why noun matters much more than most people realize. So before we going into different types, I want to make something clear. Nouns are not floating words. They actually perform functions inside the sentences. Sometimes a noun acts as the subject of a sentence. For example, the researcher published the results. Here, the researcher is the subject. It is the noun doing the action, right? Sometimes a noun acts as the object of a sentence. The researcher published the results. Now, result is also noun, but this time it receives the action. Sometimes a noun comes after preposition. For example, the files are on the table. Here, the table is a noun after the preposition on. Sometimes a noun can also rename another noun. For example, Dr. Mehta, the principal, addressed the audience. Here, principal gives extra information about Dr. Mehta, right? So, nouns are not just vocabulary items, they are central grammatical units that help sentences function properly. Okay, now we have built a strong foundation. Got it? So, let's move into the major types of nouns. Now, this is a part where students often memorize names of types and then immediately forget them. But I don't want you to do that. I want you to understand what each type means and why it matters. The first and the foremost thing is common nouns. Yes, it's a general name for a person, place, thing, or category. It does not refer to one specific identity. Instead, it refers to a class or type. For example, if I say teacher, I'm not telling you exactly which teacher, right? I'm just referring to the profession in a general sense. If I say city, I'm not naming one specific city. I'm talking about the category. Now look at these examples. The teacher encouraged the students to think independently. So in this sentence, teacher is a common noun because it's a general word, not the name of any specific person. And students is also a common noun because it refers to a learner, because it refers to learners in general, not a named group. Another example, the company introduced a new policy last month. So again, company, it's very common noun. And then policy, new policy, that's it. We did not tell which policy, a specific rule or plan. So these are the examples for common noun. And there is one more example. The apartment has a balcony that overlooks the street. So here, apartment, balcony, and the street all are common nouns because they are general names. So whenever you use general labels like doctor, city, river, movie, manager, building, report, or problem, you are usually using common nouns. Got it? Now the next one is the proper nouns. Let's so proper noun is the specific name of a person, place, organization, country, city, day, month, brand, institution, so and so. Unlike common nouns, proper nouns do not refer to a general category. They refer to a specific thing with a particular identity. For example, teacher is a common noun, but Mrs. Fernandez is a proper noun. City is a common noun, but Bengaluru is a proper noun. Company is a common noun, but Microsoft is a proper noun. So you can look at these examples. Ria presented her speech at Delhi University. So, in this sentence, Ria is a proper noun because it is the name of a specific person, and Delhi University is also a proper noun because it is the name of a specific institution. Right? Here is another example. Amazon expanded its operations in Singapore. Again, we are giving specifically like the company name Amazon. Which country? Singapore. Professor Ahmed will attend the conference on Monday. So we did not say like, he will attend the conference on weekdays. We have specifically mentioned the professor name here on which day, right? So these are the examples of proper nouns. Now, the important thing about proper noun is they usually begin with capital letters. That is one of the easiest ways to recognize them in writing. But do not only depend on capitalization, you have to understand the concept too. A proper noun always points to a particular identity, not just a category. Okay, now there are different types of nouns that we will be exploring in our next video. Until then, bye bye. Have a great day.